Thursday we brought you Hong Kong Story, a documentary tracing the rise of Hong Kong from a barren rock into a flourishing centre of world trade, as seen from the British perspective. Tonight's documentary, Hong Kong Yesterday, Today and Tomorrow, although neatly following the history and formation of Hong Kong, examines the prospect of its future after its return to China at the end of this month, but this time from the Chinese perspective. And it makes for a very interesting contrast with last week's documentary. Produced by China Central Television in 1995, Hong Kong Yesterday, Today and Tomorrow is to a large extent, believe it or not, pro-Chinese. The commentary has been faithfully re-narrated from the Mandarin television script and is loaded with such statements as Hong Kong is an inseparable part of China and it will flourish in the embrace of the motherland. And we all firmly believe that the day when China becomes a truly strong country will be the day it reclaims sovereignty over Hong Kong. Well, enough said. However, with only 4 days remaining and the clock ticking towards midnight, June 30th, for the handover of Hong Kong to China, only time will tell as to the future of Hong Kong.
February the 17th, 1990. Deng Xiaoping meets members of the drafting committee for the basic law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region.
作为历史，不仅是过去、现在，而且包括将来的历史。所谓国际也是，不只是第三世界，全人类都具有长远的意义的这么一个文件。
我想10年前，记得小平同志就曾经讲过，就是要相信香港的中国人能够管理好香港。 不相信香港的中国人管理好
中国人民都有决心、有能力按期恢复对香港行使主权。结束，这是任何力量也不能阻挡的。
1984年，我国政府根据邓小平同志提出的“一个国家两种制度”的伟大构想，和英国政府共同签署了关于解决历史上遗留下来的香港问题的联合声明。97年7月1日起，中国对香港将恢复行使主权，从而实现了中国人民长期以来收回香港的共同愿望。97年快到了，香港就要回到祖国的怀抱了。 那么香港是怎么回事？它的地理位置在哪儿？有多少人口？为什么会让英国人统治了100多年？香港97年以后会是怎么样子？今天在这期专题片里，我们就和大家专门谈谈这些问题。
The name Hong Kong dates from the period between the late Ming Dynasty and the early Qing Dynasty, when a type of fragrant wood was produced in the Dongguan and Sinan regions. Incense made from this wood became very popular across the country and was called Guan incense. As Hong Kong had soil similar to that of Dongguan, it too could produce the fragrant wood. So in addition to fishing and farming, incense production became an important industry in Hong Kong.
香港和东莞出产的香料都是先运到九龙的尖沙头，也就是今天的尖沙咀卸货，然后再转运广州，畅销江浙等地。香港的学者们曾经考证过，这个当年专门出口香料香品的海湾，也就是今天大家非常熟悉的香港。
Over 2,500 years ago, there were Chinese people living on Nanya Island. 1,600 years ago, Daiyushan became an important Chinese port. And 1,000 years ago, West Kowloon Peninsula was one of the 10 major ports of China's Canton province. Many historical relics show that Hong Kong has belonged to China since ancient times. The most prominent historical site is an ancient tomb from the Han Dynasty discovered in 1955 at Li Chengwu village in Kowloon. Inside the tomb were numerous burial articles, including more than 60 earthenware items similar to those excavated from other Han Dynasty tombs. They show clearly that the life and culture of Hong Kong in the Han Dynasty had already integrated with mainland Chinese culture. Another important historical site is Sung Wang Tai Park, located west of Kai Tak International Airport in Kowloon. In 1277, the Emperor Sung Ru-tsung was taken there by a few of his ministers, fleeing the deadly pursuit of the soldiers of the state of Yuan. As a small child, the emperor stayed in the Kowloon area for more than 6 months. Hong Kong has been an inseparable part of China since ancient times. Why then did it become a British colony? To answer this, we have to begin at the end of the Qing dynasty, when China became the target of the Western powers' bullying and humiliation. From the late 15th century, after Europeans discovered the new route to the east, Western colonialists expanded eastwards in order to seize new colonies to satisfy their greed. The southeast coast of China became their main target. In the period of Emperor Chongzhen in the Ming dynasty, Britain used military force to pressure China into trade relations. In the 1820s, the period of Emperor Daoguang of the Qing dynasty, Britain began the infamous opium trade into China. Opium smuggling continued to increase rapidly, and soon taxes on opium became a major source of revenue for the British government. Britain's ambition also extended to the occupation of Chinese coastal islands, to use as strongholds in opium smuggling. Thus, Hong Kong, a natural port, became a target for the British invasion. Large quantities of opium were dumped in China, with disastrous effects on its national interests. In 1838, Emperor Daoguang finally sent Lin Zhishu, governor of Hunan and Canton provinces, as imperial commissioner to Canton to execute a prohibition order on the opium trade. Lin Zhishu arrived in Canton in March 1839 and acted swiftly and vigorously. He asked the foreign traders to promise not to smuggle any more opium into China, and also confiscated all the opium which was already there. Over 1 million kilograms of opium was seized, piled up on Humen Beach, and burnt. The British were outraged by Lin's ban on opium. The British Trade Commissioner in Canton urged London to send troops to attack China. In June 1840, a British naval expedition reached China from India and started the Opium War. In a series of battles, the British forces attacked Xiamen, Dinghai and Ningbo and captured Hong Kong. Lin Zhishu, under vicious criticism from his opponents who wanted to surrender, was removed from his post. By mid-1842, the British Army had seized Shanghai and Nanking. The Qing government sued for peace and signed the Treaty of Nanking, the first treaty of national betrayal and humiliation in modern Chinese history. The treaty opened 5 cities, including Canton, to Britain as trading ports, and also paid Britain a large indemnity. Section 3 of the treaty ceded the island of Hong Kong to Britain. However, Britain's ambition was far from satisfied by the invasion of Hong Kong, and it planned to invade Kowloon Peninsula. In 1856, during the reign of the Qing Emperor Shenfeng, Britain launched the Second Opium War in collaboration with France. Their joint forces captured Canton and moved towards Tianjin. The corrupt Qing government again sent envoys to Tianjin to negotiate with the British and French invaders. The government signed another unfair treaty, the Treaty of Tianjin, which again offered indemnities and the opening of more ports. In 1860, the British and French troops once again pressed on towards Tianjin and captured Peking, setting fire to the Summer Palace. The Qing government was forced to sign the Peking Convention, paying huge indemnities to Britain and France and ceding Kowloon Peninsula north of Border Street to Britain. But Britain's ambition was insatiable. In 1898, claiming that the French lease on Canton Bay would threaten the security of Hong Kong, Britain asked China to allow it to extend Hong Kong's border. On June the 9th that year, Li Hongzhang and the British ambassador signed a special provision on the extension of Hong Kong's border. China was forced to lease Britain the Kowloon Peninsula between Border Street and Shenzhen River, and several islands called the New Territories. The lease would run for 99 years until June 1997. In 1898, when the British were taking over the New Territories, they faced extensive resistance from the villagers of Qintian. The people were disgusted with the Qing government for its corruption and incompetence, but their hatred for the British invaders was even stronger. More than 200 villagers were killed fighting the British, and many more Chinese continued to fight to abolish the unfair treaties and to regain the sovereignty of Hong Kong. But they had no chance of success in the old China. Hong Kong is a Chinese territory, an indisputable fact which no Chinese could ever forget. We all firmly believe that the day when China becomes a truly strong country will be the day it reclaims sovereignty over Hong Kong. Hong Kong has been given the name Pearl of the Orient not only for its splendid night views, clusters of skyscrapers and huge modern transport networks, but also for its 6 million intelligent and hard-working Chinese people. Their unremitting efforts have built today's Hong Kong, a world-renowned modern city. China, which had been growing stronger day by day, guided by Deng Xiaoping's great concept, one country, two systems, started negotiations with Britain. On December the 19th, 1984, the parties signed the joint declaration on the outstanding issues concerning Hong Kong. The wish of all Chinese people to reclaim Hong Kong had finally come true. On land of little more than 1,000 square kilometres, Hong Kong's population density is among the highest in the world. By 1993, its population had just exceeded 6 million. A majority of Hong Kong's permanent residents are Chinese. They make up 98% of the total population. There are also many foreigners, most of them from the United States and Europe, especially Britain. Many also come from India and Pakistan. Their ancestors came to Hong Kong with the British, and they've settled here for generations. They grew up in Hong Kong, speak fluent Cantonese, but still maintain their own unique cultures and customs. The total number of foreigners in Hong Kong is a little over 500,000, including those who have come here on a short-term basis to work. These women from Southeast Asia are housemaids, or housekeepers as we call them. Over 30% of the Hong Kong Chinese are from mainland China. The rest were born in Hong Kong. Although Hong Kong has been under British rule for 150 years, they still keep their traditional Chinese lifestyle. Deep down in their hearts, they treasure feelings for their own kin and a civilization 5,000 years old. In April 1985, following the signing of the Sino-British Joint Declaration, the third session of the 6th National People's Congress created a committee to draft the basic law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. The intention was to safeguard the successful reunification and the long-term stability and prosperity of Hong Kong under the protection of law. The drafting committee was to consist of 36 members from the mainland and 23 members from Hong Kong. Nearly 5 years later, after wide consultation with people from all walks of life in Hong Kong, the basic law of the new Hong Kong Administrative Region was drafted. On April the 4th, 1990, it was passed by the 7th National People's Congress. The drafting committee was congratulated by Deng Xiaoping.
基本法最重要、最核心的内容，就是依据“一国两制”的总方针，1997年7月1号起，中国恢复对香港行使主权，同时设立香港特别行政区政府。香港特别行政区政府直辖于中央人民政府。 除了国防、外交事务外，实行港人治港、高度自治，实行现行的社会经济制度50年不变，生活方式50年不变，现行的法律及其制度基本不变。
The government of the new Hong Kong will be composed of representatives of Hong Kong Chinese who love Hong Kong and their motherland. The chief executive will be appointed through consultation or elected. The legislative body will be formed by direct or indirect election. To strengthen this political structure, the central government naturally needs to seek cooperation from the British government, hoping that the election of the Hong Kong Legislative Council, prior to the handover, would express the principle, a Hong Kong run by Hong Kong people. But after Christopher Patten, former chairman of the British ruling party, became governor of Hong Kong in 1992, the British changed their policy towards China and repudiated the previous agreement on reform of the political structure. To offset the damage, our government is actively working with the patriotic Hong Kong representatives to establish the government of the new Hong Kong in 1997. It has the important task of ensuring Hong Kong's future prosperity and stability. Vice Premier Chen Chi-chun, chairman of the Preparatory Committee for the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region.
我国政府是信守联合声明的，无论形势发生什么样的变化，都动摇不了我们按照一国两制的方针收回香港的决心。我们这个委员会的任务就是要根据基本法，为香港的平稳过渡、政权的顺利交接和保持香港的长期稳定繁荣进行调查研究，提供意见和建议，为实施基本法 做好各项准备工作。
我们要加快这个友会工作的步伐。这个首先就是像李鹏总理在人大会上所讲的，要广泛的团结港人，共同来做好这个工作。因为光靠议委会这些委员自己是不够的那么为了广泛这个发动港人大家共同来做好这个工作呢，我们议委会准备在各个专题小组下面设一些个研究小组。那么这些研究小组准备吸收香港各方面的人士参加。
The Chinese government's response to the British government's refusal to cooperate.
我们希望他们合作，但是要合作需要双方啊。如果有一方实在不愿意合作，那我们难道日子就不过了吗？对不对？我们就不实行一国两制了吗？
Hong Kong's Kai Tak Airport is a modern international airport serving 44 million passengers and over 1 million tons of cargo every year. This results in a plane taking off or landing every few minutes. As the airport is located in the city centre, it is virtually impossible to find any room for expansion. To cope with the pressure, Hong Kong is planning to build a new airport at Chap Lap Kok on Lantau Island. However, the huge cost of the new airport means the period of loan repayment will stretch over 1997, so the government of the new Hong Kong will end up being responsible for most of the repayment. To reduce this burden, our government is negotiating with the Hong Kong British Authority on the financial arrangement for the new airport. The Chinese government time and again reiterated our principle of cooperation with the Hong Kong British government.
我们中国的政策从来都是很一致的，前后都是一贯的。能合作的地方，我们一直采取合作的态度嘛。
The Basic Law stipulates the socialist system and policies shall not be practiced in the new Hong Kong, and the previous capitalist system and way of life shall remain unchanged for 50 years. Hong Kong is one of the busiest ports in the world, a natural deep-water harbour which can berth 10,000-ton vessels. Each year, 160,000 ocean-going ships and riverboats arrive here, handling over 100 million tons of cargo. Hong Kong's container terminal also boasts one of the largest volumes of cargo in the world, over 9 million containers. This is 4 times the volume of Rotterdam Container Port. The Kwai Chung port plays a significant part in Hong Kong's prosperity. Hong Kong is a duty-free port. Apart from cigarettes, liquor and petrol, most goods are traded here free of tax. Hong Kong is one of 8 such duty-free ports in the world. The Basic Law stipulates the new Hong Kong shall retain the status of a free port and shall not impose any tariff unless otherwise prescribed by law. It shall pursue the policy of free trade and safeguard the free movement of goods, intangible assets and capital. To set up a business, all you need is to register with the relevant authorities. Apart from some public enterprises such as television, radio, public buses and airlines, which are strictly controlled by the government, all other businesses can operate free of government interference so long as they obey the law. Hong Kong dollars can be exchanged for any other currency and moved in and out of the territory free of government control. The Basic Law stipulates the Hong Kong dollar shall be freely convertible. Markets for foreign exchange, gold, securities, futures and the like shall continue. The government shall safeguard the free flow of capital within, into and out of the region. Since mainland China began its economic reform and the open door policy, many overseas companies, already attracted to Hong Kong by its free trade policies, have set up there as a base for further investment in China. Hong Kong is also a communications centre with a highly sophisticated telecommunications industry. There are more than 3,500 public phones in Hong Kong, letting you dial international with Hong Kong currency. Many varieties of pagers and mobile phones can be seen everywhere in Hong Kong. The Basic Law stipulates the freedom and privacy of communication of Hong Kong residents shall be protected by law. No department or individual, on any grounds, may infringe upon this freedom and privacy. Although Hong Kong is small and densely populated, it has a highly developed modern transport system. The highway network stretches everywhere. Traffic flow is smooth except for rush hours and when traffic accidents occur. Hong Kong's many hills sometimes require the drilling of tunnels. There are 5 in all, plus 2 large tunnels under the harbour. To solve the traffic congestion, which is getting worse day by day, a 3rd harbour tunnel is under construction at the western suburbs of Hong Kong. Hong Kong's public transport is very convenient. A highlight is the modern underground railway system. The Underground Railway has 3 major lines, with a total length of 43 kilometres and 38 stations. On average, it carries 2.13 million passengers daily, which makes it one of the busiest underground railways in the world. As well as the Underground Railway, the ground transport system plays an important role. The Kowloon Canton Railway has 34 kilometres of track within Hong Kong and carries 560,000 passengers daily. Freight trains between Kowloon and the mainland provide most of the non-staple food for Hong Kong. Every day, several direct passenger trains travel between Kowloon, Canton and Foshan, making it easier for Hong Kong residents to go back to the mainland for a visit or business. By 1997, the Beijing-Kowloon line will be completed, strengthening relations between the 2 places. The Basic Law stipulates if departments, provinces or autonomous regions of the central government wish to set up offices in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, they must obtain the consent of the government of the region and the approval of the Central People's Government. The convenience of international transport and well-developed information communication have made Hong Kong the world's 3rd largest financial centre. Shares and foreign currencies are traded actively in Hong Kong. There are over 1,600 banks and branches in Hong Kong, providing excellent service to customers. In the past, people used to say that there were more banks than rice stores in Hong Kong. This is even more true in today's commercial city centre. The Basic Law stipulates Hong Kong shall have independent finances. Its revenues shall be used exclusively for its own purposes, not handed over to the Central People's Government. The central government shall not levy taxes in Hong Kong. The ownership of enterprises and investments from outside the region shall be protected by law. This is the Bank of China, 70 stories high. Over the years, mainland China has provided strong financial support to Hong Kong's prosperity and stability. The Bank of China Group has become an important force behind Hong Kong's economic development. From May 1997, it will become one of the banks authorized to issue Hong Kong currency. Although Hong Kong is a very small place, about 25,000 tourists come here for sightseeing or shopping every day. The Peak is the highest spot in Hong Kong. At 5,380 meters above sea level, it offers a bird's eye view.
93年，来香港旅游的人数达到了900万人，其中有一部分是来自内地的游客。由于内地改革开放，现在生活水平提高了，很多的人都想来香港旅游观光一下。去年来自内地的游客高达200万人。
Ocean Park is another tourist spot, visited by nearly 10,000 people a day. Tourism, the so-called smokeless industry, is one of the important enterprises in Hong Kong. It brought in 50 million Hong Kong dollars for the region last year. The Great Buddha of Bo Lin Temple on Lantau Island is the largest outdoor statue of Buddha in the world. The bronze statue with its lotus throne is as high as a 9-story building. Building the statue was extremely difficult. The construction was carried out by a machinery factory attached to the Aerospace Industry Ministry. Work began in 1982 and was not completed until the end of 1993. A grand opening ceremony marked the beginning of the Bo Lin Temple and the Great Buddha as an essential place to visit for tourists and worshippers alike.
那么我想，97回归以后呢，这个随着形势的发展，随着世界这个整个经济发展这种格局的变化啊，那么旅游的热点地区啊，也逐步是向亚太地区来转移的。当然，将来呢，随着我们国内人民生活水平的提高，这个 来香港或经香港到世界其他国家去旅游的人，探亲旅游的人也会增加啊。那么我们在这方面呢，也会进行积极的配合。
Hong Kong is a free port where most imported goods are sold duty-free and cheaper than in some countries of Europe, the United States or Japan. Hong Kong is a well-known shopper's paradise. Its goods come from all over the world at reasonable prices and with reliable quality, attracting many tourists. Some of the visitors come from the mainland. Please remember, people from the mainland who wish to visit or settle in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region after 1997 must obtain approval from the relevant regional authority. The basic law stipulates Hong Kong residents shall have freedom of movement within the region and freedom of emigration to other countries and regions. Unless restrained by law, holders of valid travel documents shall be free to leave the region without special authorization. People from other parts of China must apply for approval to enter Hong Kong. The number of persons entering the region for settlement shall be determined by the Central People's Government, after consulting the government of the region. Hong Kong residents spend their leisure time watching TV, listening to the radio, shopping, or taking a stroll in the parks. The pace of life is always quick and intense. Holidays and weekends are the time for everybody to relax. Family activities like these are favourite choices for Hong Kong residents.
係，我快有你啊，冇錯。
The two TV stations most familiar to Hong Kong residents are Asia TV and TVB. Competition between them is intense. In recent years, another cable TV station and a satellite TV station have been established, based in Hong Kong and broadcasting overseas. Watching TV and listening to the radio are important forms of entertainment. The language used for broadcasting is Cantonese. There are also English channels for foreigners. Recently, broadcasts in Mandarin have been added. The Basic Law stipulates, in addition to the Chinese language, English may be used as an official language by the executive, legislature and judiciary of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. Religion plays a significant role in Hong Kong residents' life. The Catholic Church, other Christian churches and the Buddhist temples all have their followers. The Basic Law stipulates Hong Kong residents shall have freedom of religious belief and freedom to preach and to conduct and participate in religious activities in public. Many worship Buddha or gods and believe in fortune-telling, hoping to get blessings for a peaceful life, security, a good career or a big fortune. They are also keen on gambling. The twice-weekly lottery and horse racing provide them with ample opportunity to try for a big prize. These events have become an essential part of Hong Kong residents' life. The huge sums of prize money create great excitement for the participants. However, an inevitable outcome of gambling is that there are far more losers than winners. Hong Kong is a city rich with nightlife. The bustling streets are brightly lit all night long. However, like any other sophisticated city, there's a dark side to Hong Kong behind its prosperity. Prostitution and pornography are practiced more or less openly. Some of the karaoke clubs employ underage girls as singing partners who also provide sexual services. Hong Kong, as a cosmopolis and a hub of transport to Southeast Asia, has been used by international criminal organizations as a center for drug smuggling. There are about 70,000 drug users in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong police are committed to cleaning up drugs, but the number of drug users still increases by several thousand every year. Nevertheless, compared with other cosmopolitan cities, the crime rate in Hong Kong is not very high. There were about 80,000 criminal cases in 1993, of which 17,000 involved violence. However, the level of violence has increased in recent years, causing grave concern. In Hong Kong, education is compulsory for 9 years. Parents must support their children from year 1 in primary to year 3 in high school. Failure to do this may attract a court penalty.
在香港，无论是中学生和小学生，他们的功课都十分的繁重。那么，因为考试造成心理压力太大，以至于自杀的现象也时有发生，这使得香港的一些家长和教师感到十分的忧虑。
Another concern is colonial education, which has neglected to teach the concepts of country and nation. The Educational Authority under the British Hong Kong government did everything to avoid the history of colonial rule. For example, they called the Opium War a commercial war. Only in the 1980s were students able to read history from before 1976. Only then did the British Hong Kong government begin to promote public education, to prepare for representative government. Meantime, it has been advocating the concept of Hong Kong as an independent entity. Their textbooks describe China as the largest neighbouring country. This educational policy, designed to sever Hong Kong from the mainland, has been scrutinised by the Hong Kong Region Preparatory Committee. The chairman, Vice Premier Jeanne Chun, commented at the third plenary meeting on textbooks with a Hong Kong colonialist tendency. The inadequacy of the current textbooks used in Hong Kong should be considered a serious issue for the education of a new generation in Hong Kong. Most of the existing textbooks can continue in use after 1997. Contents which distort the truth of history, violate the one country principle, and disregard awareness of one's country and nation must be omitted or amended on a step-by-step basis. Primary education takes 6 years, beginning at the age of 7. Secondary education is 5 years, but after year 3, students may choose to continue or not depending on their progress, their personal abilities and their family's finances. At year 5 in secondary school, the students sit for a matriculation exam. Successful candidates are admitted to a 2-year course at year 6 and progress to a tertiary entrance exam. At present, there are 1.2 million full-time students in Hong Kong, about 1/5 of the total population. There are nearly 500,000 primary pupils in over 600 primary schools and about 500,000 secondary school students in over 500 secondary schools. The Basic Law stipulates, based on the previous system, the government of Hong Kong shall, on its own, formulate policies for the improvement of education, including administration, the language of instruction, the allocation of funds, the examination system, the system of academic awards, and the recognition of educational qualifications.
香港的居民中大部分是广东人，所以日常生活讲的是广东话。香港的中学、小学和大学教学语言说的是英语和粤语，所以到现在很多的香港人连一句很普通的普通话都不会说。
Following economic development on the mainland, contacts between Hong Kong and the mainland have greatly increased, and communication has become increasingly important. Many people are learning Mandarin by themselves or in classes to meet professional needs. Now let us show you how the students read the newspapers in Mandarin.
现在新闻报告有一个振奋人心的大好消息。
最近有一间海鲜酒家，他们的叫苦连天，因为近来有很多的活论发生，总是因为就是去了这个不清洁的海鲜。
刚才听见你讲那个普通话好像有一点困难，你觉得那个最大的困难在哪里呢？
最大的困难就是我住在香港几十年，突然间叫我转为普通话的比较困难，因为我才学了1年多。
为什么要学那个普通话呢？
我是中国人嘛，我不会说普通话，给人家笑嘛。
那本来你觉得那个在学普通话的里头最难克服的是什么问题呢？
现在才是真的，没有时间去练习，没有机会跟一些本地会说纯正普通话的人去对话去练习。现在
因为我们在那个就我们桌上经常要接触他们，跟他们沟通很困难所以我在那个跟他们沟通有困难的时候，我觉得不会说普通话，觉得很不是很丢脸，有点觉得不好意思。
我是中国人， 而且现在已经是94年，还有3年就到97了，迟早我们都要回到祖国的怀抱嘛。
Some primary and secondary schools in Hong Kong have also started teaching Mandarin. However, as this practice is only recent, leaving just 2 years before 1997, there will not be many people who can speak fluent Mandarin by then. But we believe that communication will not be a problem.
"近2年，在香港的电台、电视台都增设了普通话的节目。一方面，由于香港的广东人有学习普通话的要求；另一方面呢，从内地来香港定居的人对普通话节目要求也很强烈。所以，近2年，香港的电台、电视台都增设了普通话的节目。
The unbreakable links between Hong Kong and the mainland are obvious in every aspect of people's lives in Hong Kong. Every day, large quantities of vegetables, pork, beef and many varieties of non-staple food arrive in Hong Kong from Shanghai, Beijing, Wuhan and Guangzhou in the mainland. These freight trains keep coming day after day without a break. The food they bring has not only enriched the menus of Hong Kong's world-famous restaurants, it has increased the variety of food on Hong Kong people's dining tables.
我们30多年来，不管是国内有什么样的困难，对香港的猪的供应、牛的供应始终是很稳定的。所以我们现在五丰行所经营的活猪、活牛，都要占香港市场需求量的总在98%以上。对于这些供应香港的这些食品，价格每年也多少要涨一点的，这是因为它的成本会增加涨一点。但是呢，它这个涨价幅度比香港的通胀要低。我们五丰行所做的这一部分食品供应的价格的稳定对于香港居民的生活费用的这个控制也是很起作用的起很大的作用。
除了副食品以外，每天从内地源源不断运来的淡水，对香港人的生活也是不可缺少、至关重要的。现在大家看到的这几条管子，几十年来就担负着把深圳东江水库的淡水运来香港的重任。在深圳严重缺水的情况下，深圳东江水库的闸门也一直朝着香港敞开着。
Hong Kong consumes a great deal of energy. Part of the ample power supply comes from the mainland. This is Daiyawan Nuclear Power Station in Guangdong Province. In 1985, Hong Kong and Guangdong Nuclear Power Authorities began a joint venture to construct and operate this station at Daiyawan in Guangdong Province. 70% of the electricity produced here is supplied to Hong Kong, thus assuring the region of ongoing power. Since our economic reform and open door policy, investment from Hong Kong has brought new vitality to the mainland economy. Meanwhile, Hong Kong residents have also realised the growth of their economy will increasingly depend on the strength and prosperity of the motherland. As July 1997 approaches, more and more Hong Kong residents have shown their love and concern for their own country. They believe that as Chinese, we share common thoughts and feelings for our fellow countrymen. In their hearts, they sense the feelings of kinship. This feeling of kinship is what drives Hong Kong residents to become the most active supporting force in the campaigns for Project Hope, the rescue missions for flood victims in South China and East China. The flag of the new Hong Kong is red for the motherland with a white bohinia for Hong Kong. It implies that Hong Kong is an inseparable part of China. The 5 stars symbolize the love of Hong Kong residents for the motherland. The red and white colours embody the principle of one country, two systems. The regional emblem bears the words Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of China in Chinese and Hong Kong in English. It repeats the symbolism of the bohinia with 5 star-tipped stamens, and the red and white colours embody the principle of one country, two systems. May Hong Kong become more thriving and prosperous after 1997 under the protection of the Basic Law.
Well, as they say, there is always at least 2 sides to every story. Both tonight's and last Thursday's documentaries on the handover of Hong Kong to China will be repeated on the 30th of June in our special coverage of the handover. I'll be back with TV World on Sunday at 8:30 with Darkest Austria. Hope to see you then.